Ava Gardner, the sultry icon of Hollywood's golden age, once captivated the world with her emerald eyes and a beauty so devastating that even Frank Sinatra called her the love of my life. However, behind the glamorous premieres and magazine covers was a harsh truth that few people know. Ava once faced a heartbreaking choice that would haunt her for the rest of her life, a secret so painful she could barely speak of it even decades later. In 1951, when Ava Gardner stood at the absolute peak of her stardom, her name blazed across movie marquees from New York to Los Angeles. Fresh off her breakthrough role in The Killers and newly cast in Showboat, she was MGM's most valuable asset, a genuine movie star with a face that launched 1,000 dreams. Her porcelain skin, raven hair, and that unmistakable North Carolina accent made her unlike anyone else in Hollywood. She was untouchable, unreachable, perfect, but perfection in Hollywood always came with a price. That year, Ava had secretly fallen in love with Frank Sinatra, the crooner whose career was spiraling downward while his marriage to Nancy Barbato was crumbling. Their affair was explosive, passionate, and completely forbidden. When Ava discovered she was pregnant with Frank's child, she was torn between two impossible choices. The baby represented everything she secretly wanted: a real family, genuine love, a life beyond the spotlight. MGM had other plans. Studio executives called her into a closed-door meeting at their Culver City offices. The message was brutally clear. Her contract, her career, her entire future depended on maintaining her image as Hollywood's most desirable woman. A pregnant, unmarried Ava Gardner didn't fit that narrative. The studio had already arranged everything. A private appointment, complete discretion, no questions asked. According to witnesses close to Ava, she left that meeting with tears streaming down her face, walking alone through the studio lot as if in a trance. She made the appointment. What happened in that private clinic would haunt her for decades. It wasn't just the loss of the child. It was the realization that Hollywood owned her completely, body and soul. But the tragedy didn't end there. Even after she married Frank Sinatra in 1951, their relationship became a battleground of jealousy, alcohol, and rage. Frank's career was collapsing while Ava's was soaring, and he couldn't bear it. One night at their Palm Springs home, after hours of drinking and fighting, Frank fired a gunshot into the mattress, narrowly missing Ava. She fled into the desert night, barefoot and terrified, hiding behind a boulder until dawn. When the police arrived, she protected him, claiming it was an accident. Friends later revealed that this wasn't an isolated incident. The fights grew worse, the violence more frequent. Yet Ava stayed, perhaps because she believed this was the price of loving a broken man, perhaps because Hollywood had already taught her that her own pain didn't matter. Years later, after 3 marriages had failed and her beauty had begun to fade, Ava retreated to London, then Spain, living in self-imposed exile. She rarely gave interviews, but when she did, her voice carried a sadness that no amount of whiskey could drown. She once admitted, "I destroyed every man I ever loved, and they destroyed me right back." But perhaps the real destruction came long before. In that MGM office, when a young woman from North Carolina learned that in Hollywood, even your body wasn't your own. Ava Gardner didn't just survive Hollywood's golden age. She endured it. And that truth, more than any scandal, defines her legacy. She lived on her own terms, loved fiercely, and refused to pretend the pain didn't exist. That's what made her not just beautiful but unforgettable.